Welcome back to another edition of This Week in the XFL. I'm your host, the referee, representing XFL2k.com, the best place to get your latest XFL updates daily, so sign you up if you're not there. So we're 1 week away from when the XFL Summer Showcase officially kicks off. We've seen that players are getting their invites. The press is getting their invites because we've just gotten ours just recently as well. Still not sure if we're going to Dallas and Houston, but we'll absolutely be in Houston next Saturday. So if you're there, say hello. If you're not, look forward to that footage. So what do we got going on this week? There's been a little bit of news, not, a lot of news, mainly hires. So I figure we'll kick things off with some of the latest hires and kind of go over some of the staff tracker items that we've built into XFL2k.com. Then we'll go into some of the best XFL profiles to follow on social media. And we're not talking just official profiles. We're talking fan profiles, websites, podcasts, Facebook groups, things of that nature. So, and to wrap things up, we're going to go over how you could win one of these right here. This is a AAF blaster box, 8 packs plus 2 extras, so 10 packs. You could win one of these bad boys, so stick around to the end to find out how. So right now, let's kick it off. Let's go into some of the hires. Let's see what's going on. So throughout the week, we've seen a few different waves of announcements from the XFL. Specifically on Thursday, I think that's when we had the most. But again, I'm going to go through the teams in alphabetical order, name them off, and kind of go through a little bit of these here. So we have Jeff Jaded. I'm going to screw this name up. I'm going to butcher it, but we're going to try again. Jagodzinski. Yeah, you would think I should know that name better, but oh well. He is the offensive line coach for XFL Dallas. And then this is a name that probably a lot of you will know. Bobby Blizzard, running backs coach. He's coming from the Memphis Express. So, sign him up. It's good to see another AAF hire coming in to the XFL. So moving over here to Los Angeles, we have Vince Amy as the defensive line coach. That's a big name. That's a good person to be coaching on your team. So, hey, sign up that Los Angeles team. Like I said, he's building himself quite a little dynasty out there, but we will know when the season starts. Next up, we have Charles Bailey as the director of football operations, and last but not least, Joey Clinkscales as the director of player personnel. So again, good 3 hires there. Moving on here to New York, John Peterson is the director of football operations, so sign him up over there. Seattle, we had a couple things go on this week. So we had some coaching and some business hires. So we'll start off with not necessarily on the coaching, but we have Tony Softly is the director of player personnel, and that's another great hire. He was big in the St. Louis area, but he lives in Seattle now, so I think it was great that he got picked up over there. Great radio personality, great scout. He's another guy that's going to be at all of the summer showcases looking at the talent that's trying to hit that field. So, I applaud him. Golf claps or a football clap, whatever you want to do, sign him up either way. Now we're moving over to Ryan Gustafson. He's made his first 2 business hires. So we have Chris Savio, who he's most recently been the director of corporate partnership for sales for Major League Soccer Seattle Sounders. So he knows the area. And again, we've seen a couple of these MLS guys come into place. And then we also have Jim Chrisman, who is, again, NFL PR veteran. 16 seasons with the Bears as team director, communications, media relations, all that stuff. So it's great to see these types of hires. Not only are we getting quality coaches, we're getting some quality business folks as well. Some guys that really know what they're doing. Like we've recently seen with the Houston president. He seems like he has the smarts. I'm excited about these types of hires in this league. So hey, moving on to St. Louis, fan favorite of many of the listeners and watchers of this show right here, Theodis Brown, Director of Player Personnel, another big name for that area, known to that local region. Former Rams player, if I remember correctly. So hey, down to the CFL South, we have Frank Gantz Jr. as the special teams coach and Jonathan Himbach as the offensive line assistant coach. Again, good names, good hires. Down to DC, we had 4 right in a row. Jeffrey Fitzgerald is the defensive coordinator, good defensive mind. Raymond Hamilton as defensive line assistant. Todd Washington as the tight end tackle assistant. And Teadral White as the quarterback's assistant. A lot of college experience within those names. A lot of people that have worked with Pep Hamilton already. So again, very smart move from Mr. Hamilton. Put a little pep in that step. So those are the hires so far this week, at least at the time of recording this. So there may be some new ones. But I do want to remind you, if you do want to keep track of all the latest hires, head right over to XFL2k.com. Click that item that says Staff Tracker because it's being updated almost daily. Every time we make an announcement, we're adding another name to that list. And quite honestly, the Staff Tracker thing, I want to give a shout out to the folks in our Discord. That was kind of their doing, and then we built it into the site. It is unfortunate that I've seen a couple other XFL fan sites copy this idea. Normally, I don't care when they copy our ideas because they're just my ideas. Whatever. They're not even that great of ideas. Just if I'm going to do something, you do it 2 minutes later, sign you up. That's what you got to do to get that traffic. But it is unfortunate because, like I said, this time around, it wasn't my idea. This is something our Discord did and was organizing on their own. We published it on the website, and I'll tell you, it was within hours of us publishing it. There was at least 2 to 3 other sites that kind of copied that idea. But it is what it is. I have no hard feelings, but you should apologize to the folks in the Discord. And how may you do that, you might ask? Well, click the link down in the description. Add yourself to our Discord. There's a lot of like-minded XFL fans discussing new topics every day. We're adding new people every week, and it just gets more and more fun. And as you'll see at the end of this video, there may be an incentive. But before we get to that, let's get to the real main topic here. So we built a decent following here at XFL2k. Before we jump into it, you can follow us at XFL2k.com on Facebook and Twitter. And clearly you can find us here at XFL2k on Facebook. Drop a like, comment, subscribe, and hit that bell. Hey, we're always dropping new videos. But I wanted to talk about what are some of the other folks. Maybe you've heard of them. There's probably a lot of the folks in this list that you've heard of, but there may be some new ones that you haven't heard of. So these are just kind of a quick list of some of the top XFL people I think you should follow. Again, this is more from the fan perspective. There is, I think, one official XFL employee in here. And I'll probably do a couple of these. So if you do run a site or a podcast or something like that, and it's not listed in here, or alternatively, if you're a fan of a podcast, a website, a Twitter account, or whatever, and it's not in here, maybe it'll be in the next one. And drop your suggestions down in the comments, especially if I do miss one. So I kind of segmented things out, and these are in no particular order, but we'll start with podcasts, right? And I know there's some pretty solid podcasts out there. So the biggest one is probably This Is the XFL Show. Great group of guys. And, it's funny, a lot of people think that we may have beef with them because we have This Is the XFL podcast. But in all reality, they're two different things, right? And when This Is the XFL podcast kind of came around, I don't think there was knowledge that the other one was around, right? And that's not an insult. It's just that's how life works. But they really are two different things. With This Is the XFL Show, you're getting more of a ESPN-esque panel show. You have a discussion amongst a group of people. And quite honestly, they've been there since the beginning. They've been rolling since over a year, and they're there on a weekly, consistent basis. So I got to give them a shout out. They have to be number one on the list. kudos to those guys. Keep doing what you're doing. I look forward to seeing how everything kind of evolves as we go closer to the season. And hey, sign everyone up. Now the next one, just, the names are similar, and they are sponsored and presented by XFL2k. As we mentioned, this is the XFL podcast. Now, like I mentioned, the names are similar, but the content is a little bit different. Rather than a panel show, it's more of an informational dialogue, right? Maybe some of the top news, maybe some of the things that have happened in the past. It's more of a mix match without having a conversation, more of a narrative and just getting the dialogue of what's going on. And again, you can find all the episodes of This is XFL podcast right here on this YouTube channel and XFL2k. And with the rest of these folks, I'll have links to all the profiles down in the description. And I encourage everyone to follow everyone on this list, right? So moving on to another one that hasn't maybe posted in as of recent, and there may be few and far between, but it's very solid content, is the XF podcast. I've actually hosted a couple of the pre-shows with one of their co-hosts, J-Dash, but him and the Wrestling Movie Guy are both top-notch. Different, again, style of podcast. It's more of your podcasty podcast, if you will. More of a radio program. So I encourage everyone to go check them out. Now this one's on Facebook. I'm not sure if they have a YouTube yet, but if they do, I'll make sure to add it with this. But it's the XFL STL, or XFL St. Louis podcast or show. Now this one, again, differentiating from the rest of the crowd. This is a live video discussion show that happens every Monday night on Facebook, to my knowledge. I saw they recently gave me a shout out, and I'm definitely giving them a shout out. And I do know I do have to respond to your email, so I may be a guest on that show soon. But until then, make sure to check them out. Like I said, got a link in the description. Follow them on Facebook. Every Monday they're live. And to my knowledge, they're the only weekly live XFL show right now. So, hey, sign you up right there. Now, the last one is more of a mix of podcasts. So it's AFNN.net. So that's Alternative Football News Network.net, AFNN.net. And they host all sorts of different podcasts. They've been around during the AAF days, had a lot of Alliance podcasts there. They're also starting up a new show, XFL Now, which should be coming up in the near future. Another one that I have to check my inbox and respond to, so I apologize if I haven't responded by the time this video comes out. I'm a busy man, I swear. But you should check them out, AFNN.com, AFNN.net. Get it correct, son. It's a good stuff. If you want a lot of content, they have a lot of content. So we're going to move over to some websites here. And again, starting with probably the biggest and definitely the longest running of the group here, XFLboard.com. So I know I've spoken about Mike Mitchell, but Mark Nelson, he's the founder, the runner, the owner, the editor, all the good stuff of that board, where they also have news as well. So again, if you're looking for a place to have some discussion with some XFL fans, XFL board is the place to go. They have some news. Sign them up. And again, I think there's a lot of people that think I have beef, or there's beef between maybe all of these different factions. And if that's the case, it's not on my end. I like everybody that we're listing off here. Otherwise, I wouldn't be listing them off. But XFLboard.com, definitely the longest running, probably the largest discussion area for XFL fans. You should be there, quite honestly, right? And again, on that same kind of discussion forum, we'll move over to Reddit. Now, Reddit's a little interesting. So there's actually two different XFL subreddits. So we'll start with the largest and longer existing XFL subreddit, clearly r/XFL. They have over 10,000 fans. I don't use it as much. That's more my brother's thing. I'm sure you've seen me pop on there once or twice. My username's clearly XFL2k. But, it is a great place to get the latest news, some really good insight in the comments, and sometimes you'll see things leak out there before it leaks out to the greater public, right? Now, going over to the second group is our XFL football. Now, this is a newer subreddit that came around when the Alliance went defunct. But this one I would say is more, if you like memes and things like that, those are probably going to be a little bit more accepting in r/XFL football. So to me, again, they both have their place. So check them out if you are a Redditor. I heard the narwhal always bacons at midnight. At least that's what I've heard. I don't know. But we'll end it off with another one here. Now, this one isn't specifically XFL, but rsportscentral.com, they have a lot of good coverage, specifically Fran Stuckberry. And again, I apologize if I'm mispronouncing or, not saying your name correctly there. I apologize. But he's always putting out quality stuff. I see him a lot on a lot of the different Facebook groups as well. So he's very active. Definitely check them out. Now, we're going to move over to Twitter here. And I'll start with the one official XFL employee, and that's Heather Brooks Carrots, or Carrots. And again, I'm probably not pronouncing that correctly, and I apologize. But you can find her at Heather B. Carrots or Carrots. Again, I apologize. We'll have all the links in the description. Now, the reason I chose her above any of the other, at least official accounts, well, one, I'm assuming most of the people watching this are subscribed to at least all the official accounts. Maybe not all the coaches, things like that. But when I look at Heather's account, it makes me realize she's probably the best team president that we have in this league, at least so far right now. There's so much behind the scenes stuff that she posts on her Twitter accounts, different images, stories, things like that. So you should check her out. She's fighting the good fight, making social media make that dream happen. Another one is, again, we talked about XFL Board. They also have a Twitter account at XFL Board. But specifically, I want to talk about Mike Mitchell. He actually recently broke a couple stories just the other day. So he's another good insider to follow. You can follow him at MMXFL Board. Again, that's at MMXFL Board. One of the probably best people that you could be following on Twitter. So if you aren't, sign you up. You should get on with that. Now, these last two are just, I guess, fan Twitter accounts. So we'll start with at XFL Plus. What I like about XFL Plus is they just post different articles from all sorts of different websites, right? So granted, some of them are from XFL2k, but you also get to see if there's, a TMZ video or ESPN or Pro Football Talk or somebody's talking about the XFL. They have a pretty good mind as far as picking which ones to actually post and retweet and things like that. So check them out, sign them up. And we'll end with at XFL_endzone. Now, this one's a little bit different from the rest. If you want to see some potential players that may be in the XFL_endzone is where you need to be at. This dude, or dudes, I don't even know, or ladies, really, I don't even know, quite honestly. They're putting out player profiles on the daily. I know they've been talking to a lot of people that have tried to get to the summer showcase, and in some instances did get to the summer showcase. They were doing a lot of help for the dudes coming out of the AAF, trying to get their names out there. So definitely they deserve a follow. And just as an extra kind of shout out, they also run two other accounts, Seattle End Zone, no underscore, and they're going to be talking about, the Seahawks and the XFL Seattle team, as well as AFL_End Zone. This for arena football. So if you're interested in any of those things, check them out. But definitely check out the XFL_End Zone, right? Sign them up. But we'll end it off with Facebook here, and I only have two on the list, right? Facebook, it is what it is. There's really not that many out there. I'd say this is more of a Twitter website podcast game. But for the two that there are, we're gonna let it be known. So the first one is a Football World. And they were around again during the Alliance. They had a different name. I think it was XFL2 Alliance or XFL Alliance or something like that. But right now it's a Football World. The moderator's a top-notch dude. He was doing some work with AFNN. He's also, hey, if you want to take a shot on Saturday night and have a guy do a video of him taking a shot on a Saturday night, a football world is where you need to go. Again, links are all going to be down in the description. Sign them all up. And then last but not least is going to be XFL 2020. And again, this is a larger group. There's a lot of discussion there. So check all of these guys out. Check them all out. I encourage everyone to follow. And if you did need a reason, here is the reason. Now, we spoke of how you could win your very own sealed AAF blaster box. So here's what we're going to do. If you follow XFL2k on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube, as well as like this video, you will have one chance to win this box. Now, if you follow any of the other people on this list, you will also gain an extra opportunity. So that's over 10 chances to win. So what we're going to do is I'll put a link in the description. We're going to have a page on XFL2k.com where you can fill out a form, and basically you'll enter what your profile name is, what profiles you followed, and we may have to ask for proof depending on your privacy settings in your social media accounts. But each one follow that you have for not only ours, but for all of these other accounts will get you another chance to win this AAF blaster box. So, hey, if anybody wanted to say I didn't do anything for the XFL community, this is the reason to shut you up. So follow us, again, Facebook and Twitter at XFL2k.com. No dot, still trying to get that premium domain. And here on Facebook at XFL2k. Please drop a like, comment, subscribe, and hit that bell to see when we're dropping new videos. Some are going to be live and some are going to be pre-recorded, just like this one. So until next time, good luck on winning this and sign you up.
I've been watching